Hello, welcome. Hi, it is great to see you here. I've got some great information for you today. So, if you're struggling with dieting, if you've struggled in the past to make your results stick, I can bet your ass that you're doing one of these things that I'm going to dive into today. And if you're wondering who the hell I am, my name is Bianca. I am the plant-based queen, and I help women ditch dieting so they can feel and look amazing with plants, habit, and mindset work. That's all it takes. Um, I know it's not the best elevator pitch, but I get results. And I'm sure that's probably what you're here for. So let's dive into it. But for a second, if you're watching this, you have probably, I'm assuming, by the fact that you've opened this, by the title, you've probably felt some form of gut wrenching frustration. You've probably been maybe good all week, eating salads and being healthy and avoiding the biscuits and doing all the things that you should be doing. But the scale's probably not moving, or at least you're doing it for a short while and it's working, and then all of a sudden we regain because life happens. Maybe it moves up. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the four of the biggest reasons why your diet isn't working, even if you think that you're doing everything right. Because here's the truth, it's not about willpower. It's not that you're lazy or that you're broken, and I'm going to go into all of that in detail. It's probably the systems that you've been taught to follow. That's all. So if you're sick of starting again on Monday, this live is going to hopefully show you exactly what's keeping you stuck and how to fix it. A few years ago, one of my clients, Sarah, she came to me and she was absolutely like defeated. She was probably one of the most given up women who had literally just given up so hard. I was surprised that we were having a conversation. And she tried everything. She tried calorie counting, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, intermittent fasting, keto, carb diets, like you name it. She'd gone vegan at that stage, thinking that that would be the magic solution, but the weight wasn't budging, right? She was exhausted, she was frustrated, and honestly, she just convinced that her metabolism was broken. But we discovered that she wasn't failing. It was just that her approach that she was using wasn't working. So within 6 weeks of changing how she ate, not just what she ate, how she started dropping weight. And steadily her energy started to just skyrocket. It was like this curve. It's like just slowly started getting like increasing, and then all of a sudden, boom. And she stopped obsessing over food. And that's when it clicked for her. Most women don't need another diet. I don't need another diet, she said to me. I need a different understanding of how my body is working. So, according to the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, around 95% of people who lose weight on traditional diets will regain it within 1 to 5 years, and typically not more. Now, that's not a problem with willpower, right? It's not a problem with willpower. That's a systematic problem because most diets are built on pure restriction, on rules, on punishment, and all of these things, they go against our biology. They go against every bone in our being. So let's break those reasons down into four reasons why your diet just isn't working for you. And of course, what to do instead. So, number one, I want you to write this down, guys. I want you to write this down. Number one, you're eating healthy, but your gut is probably disagreeing with you. So, here's a bit of a sucky piece of information for you, right? Most diets completely ignore this. Now, it's not about what you eat that matters, it's what your gut can do with what you actually eat. So, you can be eating all the healthy foods, you can eat things like oats and smoothies and avocado on toast and a handful of peanut butter. But if your gut isn't thriving, if your hormones, and your weight loss will not thrive either. Okay. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Fiber Fueled. Fantastic book. Go and read it. Um, Will puts it, Dr. Will Bolshevitz, he puts it very well, and he says the single greatest predictor of a healthy gut microbiome is the diversity of plants in your diet. So, not how few calories you eat, not how much protein you get, right? Not how clean your meal looks on Instagram and how pretty it is, but how many different plants that you feed your gut microbes. Now, this might be a bit of a different concept. It's very different to the typical diety kind of rules and guidelines out there. So I want you to listen up. When your gut microbes are starved of fiber, things start to break down, like literally. Your digestion starts to slow, inflammation in your body increases, your metabolism will start to dip, meaning the amount of calories that you need just to be reduces, meaning translated to you have to eat less food to maintain. Um, and your hormones start kind of getting a little bit out of sync. And this is going to create a ripple effect that directly impacts your ability to lose weight, no matter how healthy that your meals are going to look like. You could eat the healthiest meal on the salad on the salad. You could eat the healthiest meal on this planet. But um, if your hormones are out of whack, and I'm going to go into this in a little bit more, in a little bit more detail, if your hormones are out of whack, you're going to find it very difficult to actually utilize that food. So most people who claim that they are healthy eaters, I don't know if you've ever heard of almond mums. This is a thing nowadays, but most healthy eaters are actually stuck in like this famine of fiber, right? We're so obsessed with asking about where we're getting our protein from. We've forgotten that fiber is the unsung hero of everything that we do. And so we're rotating the same few foods. We're having like oats and sandwiches and coffee. Maybe we're thinking that we're doing things right, but your gut needs variety. In fact, research shows that one of the largest microbiome studies in the world shows that people who eat 30 or more different plant foods a week have far healthier, more diverse microbiome than those who eat 10. Now, obviously, that's not a surprise. That's because each plant contains a unique type of fiber and polyphenol. So I want you to think like fuel for a different like colony of microbes. The more diverse the plants are in your diet, the stronger your gut is going to become, the stronger that army becomes. And here's where it links to your weight. Those same microbes influence your metabolism, your hunger hormones, your cravings, your mood. So when you feed them fiber, so you get fiber from whole, diverse plant foods. Fiber is like the literal structure of whole foods. When you have processed foods, there's no fiber left typically. There's very, very little fiber, very little structure of the whole food left and intact. And that's the stuff that our gut bacteria needs. So when you feed them this fiber, you feed them diverse plant foods, they produce something called short chain fatty acids. Now, I didn't pre-warn you that this is a bit of a science lesson. They produce SCFA, short chain fatty acids, and these are compounds which help reduce inflammation, improve your insulin sensitivity, which we're going to talk about, help regulate fat storage, and so on. So when you think things like, oh, I'm eating healthy, but I'm not losing weight, what's really happening is that your diet is just not fueled full of fiber enough. You're feeding yourself, but not your gut. And without a thriving gut, the gut is like the second brain, right? Without a thriving gut, your metabolism will probably will, not probably, it will struggle. It will struggle to repair and it will struggle to burn fat. So the solution isn't necessarily to eat less. In fact, it's actually never to eat very little food. is to eat more of the right foods, right? The right foods are things like beans, lentils, fruits, veggies, whole grains, and nuts and seeds. More color, more texture, more life on your plate. Because the women who see lasting results aren't those counting calories. In fact, I do not count a single calorie, and my clients do not count a single calorie. We look at diversity on the plate. So when you shift your focus from restriction to nourishment, from controlling and restriction to connection and variety, your body's going to start working with you instead of against you. And you'll feel probably lighter, more energized, finally in sync with your body. You'll have a better memory, less brain fog, which is something that I see a lot of women having. And I'm like, when was the last time that you started focusing on food and stopped focusing on protein and getting in as much protein coffee and protein bars as you possibly can? Like, all that protein ain't doing shit for you because you can't even take a shit because you need fiber. So, this is what real health looks like, guys. When you come to me, I tell you to eat more food. Sorry. I mean, what kind of weight loss program is that? God damn it. But this is where clients thrive. This is where we thrive. Not from a gut that's starving, but from a gut that's alive, from a gut that's diverse, from a gut that's thriving. So, number two, and I'm going to whiz through these because I have a client in 20 freaking minutes, okay? I've just been on a trip to Bali for 3 weeks. It has been an insane trip. If you're like, oh, where have you been for 3 weeks? Probably no one's going to say that or think that. But I've been away for 3 weeks, and this is the only time that I could give you some information. And I wanted to come in and make sure that you guys are remembering these things and getting some freaking results. Because if you're not getting results, then you need to come and join my challenge, okay? If you're not getting results, drop the word challenge in the comments because you need to get your ass in gear, girl. Christmas is around the freaking corner. Do you want to look sexy? Do you want to feel good? Do you want Uncle Dave's seedy ass comments on your ass because you still haven't lost weight or because you're still saying I'm trying to lose weight, right? We don't want any of that come Christmas. So if you want to get your ass in gear and get some results before Christmas, drop the word challenge in the chat. Just say in the chat, in the comments, or wherever you're watching this. Just DM me the word challenge, for God's sake. Anyway, number two, you're restricting and rushing throughout the day. Does this sound familiar, right? This is something I see all the time, especially in women who are trying to be good and stay in control of their eating, right? We wake up with the best intentions. Sometimes women will skip breakfast because they're not hungry. You grab a coffee, maybe a light lunch at your desk. You tell yourself, I'm going to have a proper meal later, maybe. Or maybe you don't even tell yourself that. You don't even think that you're not even fueling your body and your brain throughout the day. So you power through work, you get the errands done, you get the family chores done, maybe even squeeze in a little bit of a workout, and then suddenly it's evening and boom, you walk into the kitchen and it is like all hell sets loose, right? You are like this freaking snack demon. You're starving, you're tired, you're exhausted, you are depleted of everything. And food is going to feel freaking magical. It's going to feel magnetic, right? You tell yourself that you'll just have a little tiny bit, but before you know it, you've eaten way too much. You've eaten the whole packet. It's gone. Boom. Where the hell did that go? I just blinked. Shit, where did the Oreos go? I'm sure they were here a second ago. Why are my fingers covered in Oreo dust? Right? And you're sitting there wondering, why do I keep doing this? Why can I be so good all the way throughout the day? But then all of a sudden, when I get home, bam, out the window. I'm starting my diet on Monday. Here's why. You're not failing. You're depleted. You've got nothing fucking left. So I'm going to introduce the concept to you called buffering, right? Brooke Castillo, freaking, you are my goddess woman, but she calls this buffering, right? The idea that we use food or alcohol, social media, shopping, to buffer or dull uncomfortable emotions. So when you spend all day restricting, people pleasing, overworking, holding it together, your brain is desperate for relief. You're not eating because you're out of control. You're eating because your nervous system is freaking done. It is exhausted. From a biological perspective, your brain actually runs on glucose. So when you skip meals or you eat too little or you're on some stupid carb restrictive diet like a ketogenic diet, right? You're starving the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that is responsible for decision making, for willpower, for emotional regulation. You are literally starving yourself of any opportunity of success, right? Point blank. So by the time you get home, your body isn't asking for willpower. God, no, willpower is the last thing that's actually going to stop you in that moment because it's begging for fuel. And since quick, processed, calorie dense foods deliver that hit, it triggers your brain like a fucking firework display because it feels good and it tastes good, and that sugar is amping up your bloodstream, right? Your blood glucose levels. It it feels good, it feels wonderful. Your brain is going to crave that like it craves oxygen, right? Overeating at night isn't the fact that you suck at dieting. It's because maybe it's a self-abandonment issue. You spent all day ignoring your own needs. You forgot that you need 3 full meals a day. You forgot you need rest, space to think, opportunity to breathe. And so by the evening, food becomes the only way that your brain has associated receiving those things with. So your brain says, wait, if the only time is like that we can have a moment, that we can refuel, that we can take a break is with food in the evenings, then hell, I'm going to make sure that she wants food in the evenings. It's the moment you finally stop performing and let yourself exhale, right? But the relief is temporary, right? You know that. Because when you wake up the next morning, you start the same cycle, guilt, restriction, overcommitment, and then boom, depletion, right? How do you break this? You've got to stop glorifying busy. Start fueling your body. Eat consistently throughout the day. Eat 3 freaking square meals. It is not difficult, right? Stop with this flouncy little Starbucks and a protein bar running out the door in the morning. That is doing nothing for your body. That is not putting you in a diet. That's putting you in a severe calorie deficit, a severe micro and macronutrient deficit. That is basically starting the day off meaning to fail in the evening. That is not starting as the same way a successful person starts. Now, you might look at me and see my body, my physique. Do I skip breakfast? Hell to the, what is going on here? Hell to the freaking no. Okay? I have a very lean body fat percentage. I don't know what it is. It must be around about 16 to 18%, right? I am very lean. I eat 3 meals and snacks a day. And you might be like, oh, yeah, but it's okay for you because you're 30. Oh, but because you haven't yo-yo dieted your whole life. Or because this, and this. No, it's because I look after my body right now. Okay? You can reverse any issues and any shit that you've got going on if you start treating it properly. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. You've got to start the day with a healthy breakfast. If you are not hungry until 10 a.m., then shift your day around. Stop eating so late in the night. Don't have coffee, which is an appetite suppressant, first thing in the morning, right? Work your day around. You can either sit here and keep making excuses and bullshit reasons as to, sorry, I know I'm angry today, bullshit reasons as to why you can't have 3 meals a day, or you can actually pull your finger out and say, okay, I'm going to make it work. Okay, you can sit here and argue till the cows come home 3 reasons, 4 reasons, 10 reasons why you shouldn't be having breakfast, and I can argue every single one of those points as a load of BS. Okay, you've got to start fueling your body properly, especially if you get home and you are depleted and you're rummaging through the counter, the kitchen cupboards. Okay, give yourself fiber, protein, carbs, fats, right? This is going to keep your energy, your blood sugar stable throughout the day. It is not indulgent. It is a strategy of being a human freaking being. Okay. So, number three, your hormones are fighting you. They are not supporting you. Now, if you're eating well, maybe you're cutting out sugar, attending 5 Pilates classes a week, but your weight still isn't shifting or you're not getting long-term results, your hormones are probably going to take the blame from this, right? And I know I posed number three is the fact that your hormones are your problem, but you're the problem. You're the reason why your hormones are the problem. Okay? For many women, even those in midlife, the problem is only part of what you're eating, right? Mainly, the problem is how your lifestyle, your stress, and your habits are throwing those hormones out of balance, making it excruciatingly harder to lose weight. So, the big four hormones that get blamed, right, that control your metabolism, mood, and energy are estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, and insulin. These are just the top problematic hormones, okay, that we typically see as women and middle-aged women. So estrogen, during perimenopause and menopause, estrogen levels are going to fluctuate wildly, rapidly. Too much too much relative to progesterone causes things like bloating, water retention, mood swings, stubborn body fat around the hips and waist, stress, poor liver function, low fiber, exposure to chemicals in plastics and cosmetics will also stop estrogen from being cleared properly. But because this is one of the key problems, this is actually mitigated with, like, all of those things that I just said, that is mitigated by the actual habits and behaviors that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm sorry, I know I'm going fast, but I've realized I've now got 10 minutes left until my next client, and I'm still on point three. I hope you're going to save this. Make sure you save this video, right? Because there's so much information. I want you to listen to this 2 times over. I'm giving you so much information and reasons and help and guidance and hacks that we only take in 20% of what we learn, right? So you're only going to take in 20% of what you're listening to right now. And that's not just my stutter that you're listening to. You're only taking in 20%, right? So I want you to save this right now, comment underneath it so I can comment back and so it can pop up on your notification so you can listen to this later. Anyway, estrogen. If you are struggling with estrogen, you have to also recognize that the things that you are doing is going to impact estrogen being off, okay? Progesterone. This is your natural, like, calming hormone. It helps you sleep, stabilize your mood, and it helps balance estrogen. So things like chronic stress, that's going to push your body to prioritize cortisol over progesterone, right? That's going to leave you feeling anxious, irritable, sleepless. So this imbalance is going to make it harder to lose weight, of course, and easier for us to lean towards comfort foods. So notice that. Notice that reducing or managing your stress is going to help with progesterone. Cortisol, okay? Same. Cortisol is your main stress hormone. It often bears the blame for weight loss, right? Or for a lack of weight loss. Yes, cortisol is helpful in short bursts, but destructive, it's going to become destructive when it's constantly elevated. So high cortisol is going to slow your metabolism. It's going to increase your appetite. It's going to drive fat storage, particularly around the belly area. So things like poor sleep, overworking, caffeine, right? If you're a 5 cup a day kind of girl, you better take note. Constant busyness. This is going to keep your body stuck in the sympathetic system. It's stuck in survival mode. And that's signaling it to hold on to weight. So again, increased cortisol isn't the problem. The hormone isn't the problem. The conditions that you are giving it is creating the increase in cortisol. So stop blaming the freaking hormones and start recognizing why the hormones are out of whack, okay? The same goes for insulin. This is another one of those problematic hormones. Insulin is another hormone which is chronically overblamed when all the while its dysregulation is actually simply a symptom, it's not the problem. I'm going to say that again. It is the symptom, not the problem. Insulin manages blood sugar and fat storage. So when you skip meals, you eat erratically, you're yo-yo dieting, you only rely on refined carbohydrates, your cells become resistant to insulin signal. So your body releases more. This is going to lead to higher fat storage within the cells, more cravings, unstable energy, right? But notice it's not insulin's fault that you were yo-yo dieting, that you were eating garbage for 5, 10 years, right? That you slowed your body down and you didn't move and you didn't exercise and you didn't utilize the fat that you already had stored in your body, right? That is the reason. Oh, it wasn't insulin's fault that you yo-yo dieted throughout the first half of your life either, right? Or that Starbucks lattes were maybe your breakfast staple while you were having your big break in your career. Okay, insulin resistance also worsens with estrogen, worsens estrogen and cortisol imbalances. So that's going to create this hormonal loop that's going to keep you stuck. Okay, these hormones don't work in isolation, they influence one another constantly. So when stress is high, sleep is poor, meals are inconsistent, your hormones are always going to shift into this protection mode. That's the thing about our bodies. Our bodies are trying to save us. They're trying to keep us alive, right? And then we're saying, oh, they're broken. No, your body's not broken. It's trying to keep you freaking alive, okay? It's prioritizing survival every single day over fat loss. So if you are given it the conditions where it needs to constantly focus on survival and healing instead of where you can give it the right conditions so it can focus on fat loss, guess what it's going to do? It's going to be focusing on survival, not fat loss. Your body isn't broken. It's impossible, almost impossible to have a broken body. Your body is just adapted, not broken. It's responding perfectly to the conditions that it's given. And the good news is that, like my once dying aloe pot plant, your body can adapt to your environment, the conditions you keep it in, and for the better. Like you can strengthen your metabolism, you can increase your calorie burning power. I see this with my clients over and over again. I get women that are perimenopausal, postmenopause. They are convinced that they have a broken metabolism and their hormones are out of whack and yada, 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 right? Everyone is fucking convinced that they are this unicorn that cannot be helped. Every single client over and over and over again, when they give their body the right conditions, and they need to know what the right conditions are, they need to know what that looks like for their lifestyle and for their choices and for their preferences. When they get the conditions right, it's a bit like a Goldilocks, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that, less of this, too much of this, too much of that. But when they get the conditions right, they stop blaming their body. Right? The blame comes off the body and onto their choices. So it's just about taking radical responsibility. Once you understand that, weight loss stops feeling like a mystery. It starts becoming predictable. Okay? And number 4, because I have 5 minutes, I am going to go through this, right? Number 4 is you are refusing to adapt. You're not still 20 something and it's costing you your results. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, how many times have you said, I used to be so fit, or I could eat whatever I wanted in my 20s? Okay, if you said that, I might have said it before as well, but you are not alone. Almost every woman I work with will look back at her younger body and compare herself to her younger body, sorry, fly, and that's like this gold standard, right? When I was in my 20s, I did this and I looked like this. And, it was all okay for me then. Are you ready for some cold, hard, no BS truth pill? You've changed. Your metabolism, your hormones, your muscle mass, your bone density, they have all changed. Your relationships, the people that you surround yourself with, the activities that you do, the job that you have, what you call security, your responsibilities, all of this have also changed. But all of this is also a part of your current story, of your current reality. Not only are you a different body, but you are a totally different woman, mentally, physically, emotionally. You haven't failed dieting. It's just that you're probably still expecting everything to work the same as when you were in your 20s or your 30s, right? But from mid 30s onwards, hormones like estrogen and progesterone begin to decline. Your muscle mass and bone density declines. Your resting metabolism, in other words, the amount of calories that you just need to just live, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, drops by around 1 to 2% each year, each decade, sorry. So that means your body burns fewer calories even if your lifestyle hasn't changed, which is also highly unlikely. So it's not common to see middle-aged women stay at home, at the office, or remain pretty sedentary, right? Think back to your early adulthood. You were zipping around, walking, cycling everywhere, dancing on the weekends. Write this down. We don't slow down because we age. We age because we slow down. I want you to think about what's changed physically and then add in years of dieting, yo-yo dieting, stress, your metabolism. You're holding on to fat, especially around the middle area, if um, if you've got an increase in stress as well. Okay. Right, sorry. I'm gonna just push past all of my clients in the waiting room. Sorry, Bev. I'll be with you in a minute. um, Ladies, essentially, if you're still trying to eat and diet and drink like your 20-year-old self, you are waging a war on yourself and against your biology, and your biology will always win. So the solution isn't to push harder, it's to adapt smarter. Feed your body regularly with high fiber, plant-based meals. It's going to stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to support gut health. It's going to reduce cravings, right? Strength train to rebuild muscle so you can burn more calories just sleeping, right? The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. Just taking a poop, right? Literally just being. So if you want to eat more, build more muscle. And I don't mean you have to get jacked. You don't have to look like me or someone who's absolutely tanked. Just mean get rid of those bingo wings and get a little bit of muscle on those arms, okay? I want you to be able to arm wrestle an ant and win. Yeah? No more skinny stick arms. It's unhealthy. That is something of the 90s, I do believe. Your 20-year-old body isn't coming back, but your healthiest and most powerful, most capable body can still be achievable. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead to my notes. 1 minute left. Sorry, Beverly, I'll be with you in a second. If any of this hit home, if any of this hit home, if any of this was like, oh shit, yeah, that sounds like me, or I get that, then good. Okay. If any of this gave you a light bulb moment, good, because it's exactly what I do inside my free 5-day challenge. I help you to connect all the dots so you can finally understand your body, your biology, where it's at, your behaviors, what's working, what's not working, so you can actually create some long-lasting results. It's about time that you stop dicking around in your life to create some results that actually stick. It's time to take radical responsibility for your future. Come and learn how to ditch diets for good, how to feel and look amazing in your body, right? Let me guide you through the foundations of how I live my life and how my clients are seeing spectacular results. They're reversing cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity. They're creating happiness, peace, and calm and energy into their lives every single freaking day. So if you're interested, comment the word challenge and I'll send you over the details, but spaces are limited as always. All right, team, have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot wait to hear all your questions. always here for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you need to come and join our Facebook group. It's the Women's Plant-Based Weight Loss Support Club. Free group, free community. That is exactly where you are creating your best life and best results. Right. Take care, team. Much love, and I'll catch you later. Bye.